various books such as Twist Your Fate, The Wiser Tarot Journal, Mastering the Art of Intuitive Reading, Tarot for Kids, Create Your Own Tarot Cards, Astrology for Real Life, and Tarot for Troubled Times. And this evening we're going to talk about her latest creation from 2023. So I'm just going to welcome Teresa on. And welcome everybody to the live as well, and thank you for joining us. Hi Teresa.
Hey Janine. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's early evening here and the sun is shining. It doesn't usually happen in the UK. We've usually got rain, but we've got a lovely day today. How is the weather for you? So I believe you're located in Wisconsin.
I am, and it's afternoon right now here, and we're one of the states that are not getting nailed by this terrible heat wave. It's about 70 degrees, or no, I think it's about 80 degrees Fahrenheit here with a light breeze. I don't even need the air conditioning on, so I'm pretty happy.
Oh wow, we don't even have such a thing as air conditioning over here. We don't need it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be cooler there all the time, right?
Yes, yes. So like we really welcome the heat when it comes. We open the doors, we go outside, you find people walking around half dressed. I mean, they go crazy when it's hot over here. It's brilliant.
See, here in Wisconsin, we get a lot of really cold weather, so we're very hardy too. And what you'll see is as soon as the weather gets just the slightest bit of warmth, people will be out there in shorts and t-shirts in winter. So we do that here. Yep.
Yeah, it's really funny to see. It's comical, but yeah, it's really typical as well. So thank you very much for making the time to come on. I bet you've not received your trophy yet in the post.
I have not received it yet. I've got to turn off this light. This light was actually hurting my eyes. No, I've not received it yet, but I'm excited about it because I love trophies.
Oh, congratulations. So we had the summer conference, it was a few weeks ago now, and we had it in Manchester City Centre with Piccadilly Gardens, and we announced all of the Carter Awards. It's actually our first year doing it for the Tarot Association. We took it over from the ITF, the International Tarot Foundation. So we were really proud to do it this year, and you came in top for your category, which was Best Book Independent of a Tarot Deck. For your book, The Cards You Dealt and How to Deal When Life Gets Real. So the judges found your book fantastic because they shortlisted it to the top 10, obviously, and then it went up onto our website where everybody from around the world, we had thousands and thousands of voters voted for your book as well. So congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. It was such an honor, and I was really shocked. You know, you just don't expect it's going to happen. And so it blew my mind. So thank you so much for recognizing the book and for all the folks who voted. I'm super grateful, over the moon. It really was a huge honor. Thank you.
It's a beautiful book as well. The judges were really thrilled to receive it as well. So your publisher is Wiser?
Yep, Wiser Books.
Yeah, Wiser Books. And also the people that you were in competition with. So the runner-up was The Mystical Tarot of the Saints by Psychic Nate. So our friend in Italy, and Christina Scagliotti as well, the artist there. And then we had Tarot in Love by Elliot Adam as well, and he's moving into a new area of the UK soon. So yeah, those are the three shortlisted in your category. I can't wait till you see this trophy. I hope you like it.
Oh, I'm sure I'm gonna love it. And by the way, Elliot is a dear friend of mine. I've known Elliot since he's been about 16, 17 years old. Now, he still looks like he's about 16 or 17, but don't be fooled. He's got very good genes or good skincare, but I've known him forever. So it was really funny when you are in a category with somebody that you love so deeply and you're rooting for them, but you're rooting for yourself. So I'm just glad both of us got some recognition. It was really fun.
Absolutely. So I take it he was based in the States before and now he's moving over to the UK.
Yep. He was
Wonderful.
actually we live very close to each other. We still live very close to each other right now. And he's lived in various places around the States. But now, yeah, he's moving to England really soon. I'm so excited for him. It's going to be a big, beautiful move.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope he likes it. So I was sending the certificate off to him, and I thought, oh wow, he's really close. And I wanted to thank him because he did a really good review of my deck quite a few years ago now. I think it was 2019, and I never managed to get a hold of him. But yeah, I'm gonna speak to him soon. Hopefully, now he's in the UK. So, can you tell us some more about your fantastic creation, please? Because I'm loving the chapters of the book because you've got tarot for illness and healing, tarot for
Mhm.
caregiving, and also I wanted to ask you because a lot of readers won't read for health questions as well. So, have you got any advice for that? If any of our tarot readers wondered about this, I work a lot of festivals with a lot of other
Mhm.
tarot readers, and they often give the disclaimer that they won't read for health questions. How do you address it?
Well, first of all, I do want to say one of the reasons why I did write this book is because there is nothing out there. I mean, there's lots of Tarot 101 books. There's even books that will cover tarot on a deeper subject, but there's no tarot books that really tell you how to read for hard topics. And one of the things, I've been a reader for many years, I think there's a misconception that people come to us just to talk about love. And many of the people that come to tarot readers are coming because they're dealing with a lot of hard stuff and they need a safe place to talk about it. And they want to get an idea of where things are going. And so I saw that there was a real need for that. And that is why my motivation for writing the book. And the other motivation behind writing that book wasn't just to get the information on spreads you can use and how to do those readings, but how to deliver the information in a way that's compassionate and helpful, because we don't get training on that. And oftentimes, myself included, we have to learn the hard way. And what ends up happening then is people come to a reader and they come out of some of these readings feeling very scared or anxious because the reader was not taught how to deliver that information in a way that's really going to be helpful. And so a lot of the book it's got information that anybody can use, whether you're a new tarot reader, whether you're someone who's working through an illness or grief or loss of a spouse. It gives you like information on how to use tarot for that. But for professional readers, there's a lot of advice on there on what to do and what not to do. So that's kind of a long-winded way of saying when it comes to health readings, we do have to be careful, really incredibly careful about health readings. Because one thing that we don't want to do is we do not want to cause unnecessary fear or anxiety. We do not want to cause harm. We do not want to create self-fulfilling prophecies. We don't want any of that negative energy. We want people to get information that's going to be helpful so they can make good choices. We cannot take the place of a doctor. We cannot, what is it? We can't prescribe meds, obviously, and we can't diagnose. We can't do any of that. That is something we need to remember as readers. We can't do that. However, when people are going through a health crisis, often they are coming to readers because they're scared, or if they have a loved one who's going through an illness, they're nervous, they don't know how to help them. And so for a reader, what we can do is we can look at the energy, and not in the energy again to diagnose or prescribe, but the energy to let the person know, hey, get extra support here, or don't neglect this. Take good care of yourself, be loving to yourself, or give your loved one extra time, spend more time with them. There's ways that we can word things that are going to be helpful. Hi, Artie Foodie One, and to get people on the right track. So again, they don't come out. And I got to tell you, I've had people do this to me too, where they'll like predict like some scary, awful illness. And by the way, it's never turned out to be accurate. I just want to point that out. Anytime somebody's ever done that on me, it's never, ever been accurate. I think sometimes readers do things like that. I don't know if they want to get a rise or if they want to feel powerful. I don't get it. So I've known that whenever I've worked with people who are ill or dealing with an ill loved one, that's not the kind of message they need. They need to know that, they're going to be supported, that there's things they can do. to help their situation. And if we focus on it from that perspective, we are going to be able to help them with their healing journey or their grieving journey and not again cause harm. I think we have to be very, very careful with health readings. And the thing is, when somebody comes to me, and I don't read for the public anymore, but when they would come for a health reading, I would make sure I was doing a lot of listening. Why are they asking these questions? And what I would do is also make sure that however they're asking it, I reframe it in a way that's going to be helpful rather than just, here's your prediction, good luck, buddy. It really has to be, okay, let's look at the energy. Let's see what you need to know so that you can make good choices. And I think that's what we have to do with health readings.
Exactly, because we're often called on to be counsellors, aren't
Yeah.
we? And a lot of us aren't trained counsellors. And what people will advertise themselves as spiritual advisors, but unless you have got that specific training in counselling, you can't put that up alongside your tarot readings. But there is still an expectation there from the client when they
Yeah.
walk into to your house or wherever you're doing your readings, that you are going to have that experience and that training. So yeah, you need to have some way to negotiate that. So that's where your book is fantastic for people who don't necessarily have the answers to those questions.
Yes.
How do I frame it? What do I do if that person sat in front of me and they're crying?
Yeah.
How do I handle that? There is another thing as well, because you will get a lot of people sat opposite you that haven't talked about any of those problems, and all of a sudden it's coming out and they're crying, and there's
Yes.
grief and there's upset, there's trauma. So yeah, well done on addressing some of the really difficult topics.
And the other thing I think too, Janine, is that we live in a culture that doesn't like to talk about these things. We live in a culture where you're supposed to just hurry up and get over your grief. That, you're not supposed to talk about it because it's not sexy. Or if you're ill, you're supposed to just be this brave person. And sometimes, when you're ill, you're not brave. Sometimes you feel like you're falling apart. And, right now I'm living with somebody who's dealing with a really serious illness. So ironically, as I'm writing the book, I've got all this other stuff happening in my real life. And, there's so many emotions that come up. And we're really fortunate because we're talkers. And so I think for a lot of folks, though, the only safe places they have to talk about their fears and anxiety is sometimes at the tarot table, because your family, oftentimes, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear any of this. And again, I'm not going to diss anybody's family for that, because we live in a society where we don't talk about these things. The tarot table is oftentimes the safest place, especially if the tarot reader has some training or some mindfulness on how to deliver information. It can be an incredibly extraordinary healing experience for the person who's coming to the reading, but also for all of us, because we're talking about these topics and we have to talk about them.
Yeah, and like you said, just the ability to be listened to be seen as well by some people. They feel like they're invisible.
Yes.
Some of the people that come for readings, and they can lock it all up inside, and they may feel like it's their one and only chance to express it. And if the other person is so receptive, will
Yes.
listen, can provide a safe space, and put something out there for perhaps a positive resolution that can help them. How wonderful. What a wonderful job for somebody to do for somebody else.
Tarot can be a gift that way. One of the things also over the years, I read for a lot of elderly people. And I think one of the other problems is people don't listen to the older people. They don't want to hear about their aches and pains, or, all those, again, unsexy topics. And I had really good luck with a lot of my senior citizen clients over the years, because it was the one place they could sit, they could talk about their aches and pains, they could talk about the other side, they could talk about all the friends they've lost, and not really feel ashamed. So it would oftentimes, it would become, for my elderly clients, a really wonderful visit with somebody who is actually really going to listen to you and not dismiss you. And I really think that that's also something we have to keep in mind, is we are going to have people who are coming end of life or they're older, and tarot can be such an amazing tool to open up those conversations for them and so they can get heard. So I love, yeah, listening is so important.
And this is a chapter in your book as well, isn't it? So you've got Tarot for Grieving, but you've also got about dying as well.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I've never seen that addressed in a book. It's not a topic because it's quite taboo. Most people won't
Yes.
touch it. Yes. So while you're here, how would you approach that? You know, if somebody came to you for a reading, if they had a terminal illness, or you
Mm-hmm.
know, they were just curious about that topic, how do you create the safe space to talk about that?
I've actually had many clients who have been terminally ill, who knew they were going to die. And, here's an interesting thing. When you have somebody sitting in your office who's dealing with a terminal illness, what I found generally is they tend to be really matter of fact about it, which is really interesting. It's often the other people in their lives who are having trouble with it. And so often, what I've found for people who are dealing with terminal illness is they really want to talk about the people they know they're going to leave behind. Or sometimes they want to talk about, their end days. And the most important thing, again, is we want to make sure that we are respecting their request, but also not trying to make any kind of creepy, scary predictions. And so that all starts with letting folks talk and then really thinking what is going to be the most helpful thing you can be asking right now, and how am I going to help you walk away from this reading with information that really, I wouldn't say that necessarily puts your mind at ease, but gives you, it gives you like what you need so that you can work on the next step. So for example, one of the readings I use as an example in there, I had an elderly woman, and I've got a lot of steps in my house. Oh my God. She came with her granddaughter and lugged an oxygen tank up the stairs. And she told me right away, I'm dying. So just so you know, again, very matter of fact. And her whole thing was she wanted to know that how everybody was going to be after she's gone. Now, there's also a taboo thing. We're never supposed to do readings on other people. But let me tell you something. This is where you break rules. If you've got somebody, an elderly person who's going to die, and they want to know everyone's going to be okay, you do that reading. You just do that reading. That is going to give. She walked out of there feeling great. And I mean, I don't know. Of course, I know she passed away, but I never saw her again, of course. But I know that she was really happy with the experience because she could talk about not all the death stuff. She was okay with that. She really wanted to make sure everyone's going to be okay. She had a large family. That reading took a long time too. So these are examples of what you can do. But also, if people are experiencing fear or anything like that, we can really dive deep. Well, why are you feeling this? Tell me about your fear. What would be the worst case scenario for you? What would be the best case scenario? What kind of support are you getting right now to help you move towards the end? And it's interesting too, because I live with someone who's got a very serious illness. We've had to talk about all the prep work. And so we've done a lot of prep work over the last couple of years. This is another thing you can help people who are getting ready to the other side. We could talk about things like the preparation work so they can really feel ready. And that may sound really morbid to some people, but I've got 3 planets of Virgo. I like to plan. I will tell you one thing: when people are really ill, because again, I'm living with somebody who has a serious illness, we want to make sure that we are ready for that. And so I'm speaking from this not just as a tarot reader, but somebody who's in that position right now, that prepping and the knowing that we've got all the papers in order. I mean, that may sound like the most boring thing to talk about, but people want to know about stuff like that too. So we can focus on all the things to make the journey meaningful. It's also a good time to reflect on the life that they've had and the legacy they're leaving behind and the stories they're leaving behind. All of these things are great things to do when you are reading for somebody who's dealing with something terminal.
I think it also helps the family as well, doesn't it? Because you have to remember you got the caregivers around, and the close family and the extended family. My mum's got Alzheimer's at the moment, so
Okay.
we are trying to work through it and all the different emotions that come with it, but trying to be supportive and trying to plan and all of those things. And it's a really difficult time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the tarot reading comes in, that I like the planning, the preparation, the organization side of it. The fact that you can use your cards as tools, can't you, as well? You do a lot of journaling with your
Yes.
cards. It's so helpful for working through these problems. Absolutely. How do you use them for journaling then? I want to ask you that. Do you select a card at random, or do you work towards a certain card, or do you do the Fool's Journey? How do you do your journaling?
There's a couple of things that I do for journaling. First of all, I've got many journals. I've got too many journals. I've also got a lot of journals that are brand new that I haven't touched yet. But I also have ongoing journals for different things. I have a journal where I just write my daily thing. I have an observance journal where I write the things I observe when I'm out in the world. I have a journal, a tarot journal, of course. I have a dream journal. I have a process journal for really going through my books as I'm working on them. I've got a planning journal. I mean, I'm a journal person. This is the Gemini in me. But how I work with tarot and journaling is a couple different ways. One of the things I really love to do is pull a card, just any card, and just use it as a prompt and write, kind of like a free writing thing, whatever I'm feeling by that card. That can be really helpful for me. I also like coming up with questions that are specific to the card. Like, let's say today I pulled the Seven of Swords. Now, nobody likes the Seven of Swords, especially I don't like the Seven of Swords. What is the Seven of Swords about? It's about stealth. It is about flying under the radar. It is about trying to get away with something. So I can formulate a question around that card. What am I trying to get away with right now? And I can write about it. Also, so card of the day or using the card as a journal prompt, sometimes doing spreads with tarot and writing down my interpretations and revisiting it later. Love doing that. So there's many, many different ways you can work with them. Those are like three of my favorite. What about you? Did you journal with tarot?
I am actually using the mages for the moon transitions at the moment.
Ooh.
So I find that if I pull 3 for each day for the week ahead, and then I note where the mages land, I'm finding that the mages are coming in with those moon transitions, which is really helpful for me for the energy of the day. So I've been doing that for a couple of months. I never used to do it that way. I used to do things like the Fool's Journey, or I'd work towards a card, but now I'm seeing what comes up and asking what is the energy for the day, how's that going to pan out, and then just see where those things come in. But it's interesting you talk about the Seven of Swords, because I actually really like that card. But I see it as boundaries in insisting on space and really pushing for your own space and your own time. So when people are putting on you, you can actually step outside and say, look, no, I'm going to do my own thing today. So
That card for me is so sneaky. It's not my most hated card, though. The Five of Swords is the one card, that I don't like. I do not like that card. You can't pretty it up. I think it's because I can't stand liars. And so for me, when I see that card, I'm like, who's deceiving me? And that always people always know. Anytime I pull that card, I'm like, son of a gun, why did I get this damn card now? What is it trying to tell me?
Yeah, absolutely. Five of Swords is a horrible card to come up. I don't know if anybody actually likes it. Is there anybody on the chat that likes the Five of Swords? I'll scoot through for some comments in a minute as well, if you've got any questions for Teresa. But yeah, Five of Swords is not a good one, because you just know that people are messing you about. Perhaps there's some trolls out there, or just some ickiness that you've got to deal with. But it's horrible card, horrible energy. Yeah.
Not my favorite thing, but it can sometimes, when you're doing reflection, it's giving you an opportunity to ask yourself about the boundaries that you're not setting. You can also ask yourself things like, am I deceiving myself? Am I being on the up and up? Where am I not being forthright? We can ask those questions to ourselves, and I think it's good to reflect on those parts of our nature too.
Yeah, and then pull additional cards as well. Clarify why have I got this card, or what does this mean, or can you give me some additional information? Marion's on. Hi, Marion prefers the 5 to the 7 of Swords. I like the 7 of Swords. I see it as an As a boundary setting card, it's like, no, this is my space. I'm going to insist on it.
Well, see, for
But
me, I prefer the seven over the five. So,
yeah.
Janine, I'm going to go with you. The seven of the seven of swords is not as bad as five swords, in my humble opinion.
Absolutely. And then Mercury retrograde at the moment, it's going on to the 27th, I believe. So I've got the
20,
lovers. Is it the
I think it's the 28th here,
28th?
maybe the 27th by you. So we've got a little bit time left. We've only been in it now for about a week, and
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, it's been it's been messing with me a little bit. I got the dates with our shindig today all goofed up in my
Oh,
head.
that's
I mean, it was
fine.
ridiculous. But I'm like, okay, this is Mercury retrograde. I normally don't goof up like this, but it's just been really one of those things where it's made me really, I don't know, spacey, not with it. It's been funky, funky.
But I think it's a UK thing as well because we always say next weekend, and some people from the States, some of my friends say you only say it over there. We don't say that next weekend. It's
Yes.
it might even be a Manchester thing. I don't know. But I was going to say about the lovers card coming up a lot this week in reverse and reminding
Hmm.
me of the retrograde as well. You know, communications being messed up and things going difficult with close relationships and communications
Hmm.
with people in general. So yeah, I'm loving seeing how those major cards come up to reflect the planetary transitions and the moon phases.
Hmm.
I really like that. And your astrology as well. So I'm
Yep.
always interested in the astrology that you build in with the tarot. I know that you've got it in your other books as well. Do you talk about it in this book as well? How you put the astrology in there with those topics?
I came to astrology before I came to tarot. So for me, astrology was my gateway drug into tarot. I was a teenager and I had a friend's mother who was an astrologer. She did an astrology reading for me. I was 15 at the time. And the astrology made a lot of sense. I'm like, well, this is making a lot more sense than everything my parents are telling me. So, of course, I got into astrology immediately. And I was in a bookstore one day when I looking for astrology books when I saw a tarot deck. And I just bought the tarot on a whim because I'd seen it in movies. And, I liked all that witchy stuff and got into that right away. So I started studying tarot and astrology at the same time, but tarot came after astrology. And I use astrology every single day. I use it for business. I use it to really check in with the mood of the day. I use it for making decisions. I will also use it if I'm going to be in a partnership with somebody. I want to figure out how this person, how they operate so I know what to expect. I don't like surprises. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like a good surprise, like unexpected chocolate cake. I like that. But I don't like other surprises. I like to feel, my husband says I'm a control freak, and I think that's a little extreme. But I like to feel like I am in the driver's seat and, being able to see where the traffic is so I can drive in the best way possible. So astrology, is always something that I am using at all times. And when I used to read for the public, the way I would do my readings is I would all start out by doing a general outlook. We're just going to look at the energy around you. And next thing I would do is look at the astrology and look at that person's chart, look at the major things that they need to be focusing on and watching out for. And then we would have time to ask questions. So it would always work like that. Sometimes people also really were looking for a specific date. So I would do a lot of electional astrology, which is something I really, really love. And the other thing I'm passionate about is political astrology. But I do that on the down low over on Patreon because some people get real twisted about it. So I'm like, let's not put this public. Let's just do it for people who are really into it.
Yeah,
But I use it every
you see,
day, every day.
you see a lot of that on social media at the moment as well, especially with all the election stuff. So we're watching it all play out in the United
Hmm.
States, and then I expect you were watching it all play out over here when we were going
Yes.
through it in the UK. Oh, raised tensions,
We were
really.
tense over here for y'all. Let me tell you. We were holding our breaths and holding our breaths for France too.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that was both of those were like bellwethers. And I think we're all going to be holding our breath here until we get through this election.
Because it changes the weather for everybody, doesn't it? We
It
we follow
does.
on with the United States. You know, the United States kind of links in with the UK and everything in Europe as well. So we do get tense for each other's elections, absolutely.
Well, we're all connected. One way or another, we are all connected. And I think a lot of folks forget that. And when we look at the astrology of our times right now, Pluto's in Aquarius, it's going to go back into Capricorn. And then it's going back into Capricorn just for a brief time in September to November till right after the election. And when it's in Capricorn, we have an opportunity to clean up the old, but also to reflect on, do we want to go back or do we want to go forward? And Pluto in Aquarius is about progress. It's about the future. And I have a feeling that those who are trying to go back to something that was are going to be very disappointed with the way things shake out, because whether they like it or not, the future is going to happen. We're not going, one of the statements the Harris campaign is saying, here's, we're not going back. And I don't think we're going back. I think we're going to be going forward, and we're taking people kicking and screaming along the way who don't want change.
Yeah, one of the big things at the moment, AI technology, so is moving at a huge pace, but even in our tabby world as well. So one of our creators put up a post inviting a discussion on it, and everybody has such mixed opinions on AI technology. Some people are for it because it's innovative. Other people are saying it's destroying the livelihood of artists and creators, etc. So interesting to see the different sides, but at the same time, like you said, it's unstoppable. We can't stop it. It's racing forward. We've just got to work with it and hope
Mhm.
that it's going in a positive direction. But
It's not going to replace all the writers and artists. It's
I
not.
hope not. I hope not.
Here's the thing that I found with AI. So, I think AI can be helpful, for example, checking your grammar and checking your punctuation. In that way, it can be splendid. But whenever you see something that's written by AI, because they do usually on the web, they'll say this is generated by AI. It doesn't sound right. It's weird. It sounds weird. It sounds stiff. I don't know. I don't even know the word for it. Stiff might be the word, but it just sounds off. It doesn't sound like human. And it's same like when you see these AI generated tarot decks. You know,
Extra
I
features.
yes, I mean, I had one that was given to me. I didn't know it was AI. I unwrapped it, and then somebody said that's an AI generated deck, and I looked closer at it after I did my unboxing. I'm like, oh my God. And the deck was actually pretty decent, but I was very disappointed. And I wrote to the publisher and I said, do not send me any more AI generated decks. I am not going to open those up. My audience doesn't like that. We want to support artists. And they were like super cool. And they're like, we won't do that ever again, blah, blah, blah. I think AI, I have mixed feelings about it. Again, it can be helpful, but I think generally it doesn't sound right. It's off. It's off.
It's it's difficult with books as well. So if people are finding it so easy to produce a book that has taken other people years to create, and it's very getting more and more difficult to discern the difference between the two, then there is a
Mhm.
big problem for creators.
It is,
And
but
yeah,
again, you can tell. It takes me time to write my books. I'm a fast writer, but it still takes me time because I'm working on a book right now, and this book is coming like I'm pulling teeth. It's not coming easy. It's a book that's going to be, I have all my deadlines June. I'll get there. Don't worry, Wiser, I'll get there. But right now, at the beginning of the rough draft, it's like pulling teeth, and that generally for writers, when we're writing, it always starts out like that. And then finally, you start getting into your flow, you start finding your voice as you go along. It's a process. And to just do something on AI, you miss the whole process. And that's the part what makes it really magical. And you get to feel it. I want to say, Janine, it's kind of like my tarot journey. My tarot journey was back the day before the internet. And if you really wanted to learn tarot and astrology, you had to really want it. You had to go and look for those books. And if you lived in a rural area like I did, it was even more difficult. Your passion had to be so incredibly strong that it drove you. And now the thought that you can just write a book on AI without really writing the book, not putting blood, sweat, and tears, the passion in it, the hunt, the look for the information, the vibe is off because the thing is when I read someone's book or when I work with someone's deck, like I've got this deck right here, the Tarot of the Cosmic Seed. The reason why I love this deck is you can feel the artist. And when I read a book that I love, I've got a book right here that I've been slowly going through. It's a writer's book. It's boring. No one's going to want to read this. But I want to savor it because I'm getting inside this writer's head and I'm really feeling their process. And that's the thing then that makes the book come to light for me. It's you can really hear their voice, their process, their how their the wheels are turning. And you do not get that with an AI book. You don't get it at all.
Absolutely. And Yogi Around the World says the research part of a piece of work and the finding of the argument is actually the most interesting part. Ashley's saying excited for AI medical advancements. Yes, a
Mhm.
lot of people are saying that, and software development, but not so much anything art related. So
Mm-mm.
it is a big hot topic at the moment. So something that would be um, in keeping with the big transformative energy of Pluto.
Yes,
Definitely, because we are moving forward, like you said. We can't go backwards now. There's no way.
we can. And also, when you think about tarot reading, you can get like AI generated tarot readings. All right, that's fine. But once again, tarot reading isn't some thing you just generate. I don't like generated charts where it just gives you the interpretation. I want something where the person's feeling it, where they're feeling me and feeling my energy and vice versa. And I think if you are going to be doing readings, like, for example, like what we were talking about earlier, if I'm going to be doing a tarot reading for somebody who's dealing with a terminal illness,
Yeah.
now I'm going to tell you right now, an AI generated reading is not going to be helpful. There's no soul there, there's no heart there, there's not that one on one connection, there's not that compassion. It is going to be a reading that at surface it could be helpful, but is it going to do any deep work? No, it's not going to do deep work at all because there's no human behind it. And so for tarot, for art, for writing, for music, we need the human behind it because robots, I mean, unless they invent robots with souls in the future, robots don't have that. But this is the thing that makes tarot reading so special and what makes art special and all of that. It's the person behind it, the person who's delivering it. I mean, that's what I'm here for. I don't want some AI generated tarot reading. I don't want an AI generated astrology reading. I do not want an AI generated book. And I certainly don't want an AI generated artist or deck. And here's the other thing, too, I'm going to say I like to pay people. I love paying people. And I think a lot of these, and I'm not trying to be overly critical, but some publishers are using these AI generated decks and stuff, and they can get by then without paying the artist very much. I love to pay artists. I love to pay tarot readers. I love to pay astrologers. I like to buy books. I buy a lot of flipping books. I get a lot of books handed to me by publishers, but I buy books. In fact, I ordered two that are coming today. I've got a lot of books here. And why am I purchasing it? Because I want to support the people that wrote it. I want to support the artists. I want to support the tarot readers, the astrologers, the psychics, the healers, much as I would want to support, going and seeing my dentist. I want to pay my bills. I want to pay people. I don't want to get something generated for free because it's easy. It's not easy.
It's so important. Absolutely. We pay our artists, we pay the people that are doing the workshops, we pay the people that are creating the tarot decks, that are writing the books for the tarot decks. Because I think a lot of the problem as well is the way it's been perceived over the years. So a lot of people will say, well, can you just do me a tarot reading? I get that a lot. Every tarot reader I know gets that. Oh, you got 5 minutes. You just pull us a
Mhm.
few cards. But
Oh,
you
yeah.
would never dream of walking, like you said, into the dentist and saying, can you just pull me a few teeth?
Yeah.
Can you just whiten my teeth? Just do one tooth for me.
Yeah, it
You
doesn't
would
work like
never.
that.
No, I
I've got a
know.
very expensive dentist. He probably thought I lost my damn mind if I came in asking him to like clean one tooth. People do that. And you know what also is
Yeah.
interesting? I don't know if you get this. I don't answer my emails anymore. I have to have an assistant because the amount of emails I get are overwhelming. But I get people who will say, can you quickly look at this reading I did for myself and tell me what your thoughts are?
Oh,
And I'm
oh,
like, first of all, I wasn't there when we did the reading, number one. And number two, to sit down, examine that, and then type it all out takes time. I don't have time for that. And you know, Janine, I would never think of asking someone that. I would never think of saying, well, look, here's Peter White Tarot. I'm going to go send Peter White Tarot this email asking him to give me a complete rundown of this reading I just did for myself. And I find it really weird. And I know that people do that for folks who are in other professions as well.
yeah,
But it really takes the cake.
absolutely. And Peter White's really nice as well, by the way, everyone. We're doing a podcast actually in a few weeks. He is lovely. He's very courteous in his emails. He would never dream of doing something like that, but it happens.
Yeah,
It happens a
and I would
lot.
never do that to him either. Peter, I tell you, I've never met you. I would never. And that's the other thing too. It's always people that I don't know, that I've never met, who do this. I mean, I had this dude who was sending me these countless emails to that they wanted to know when their ex was coming back. It's always the ex coming back, and doing readings for themselves and trying to demand that I do the reading for them. And we just ignored this person. And they were like, well, if you don't answer this right now, I'm going to, um, what was it? They made a threat like, I'm not going to be on your newsletter more, or something stupid. I'm like, good. Because I don't got time for this. You're going to threaten me to do a reading on the spot for you? Dude, I don't even know you.
Yeah.
I don't even know you.
It's different for friends, I think. So I've got a couple of friends coming on Friday, and I'm going to do some card readings for them. And that's a different it's a different kettle of fish completely. And you do, again, it's setting your boundaries, isn't it?
Hmm.
This is what I do, and then you can state whether you want to do readings online. I don't do them for that reason. I've just not got the time to do it. But some people do. That's their living. They do readings online. They do back-to-back readings, and they wouldn't have time to fit in a free reading from somebody that is coming on with, can you
Can you
quickly?
just?
No, it's their business. No, you pay them
Mm-mm.
for that reading.
Do you know what's interesting? Because my friends, and I know a lot of people, but I only have a couple very close friends. I can count on one hand. And this is my moon in Scorpio. There's only a couple of friends that I trust implicitly. They would never in a million years dream of asking me to just pull a card. They would never do that. They know this is my work, this is my art, my craft, whatever you want to call it. Never in a million years would they do that, ever.
And that's good boundaries.
Well, it's
Absolutely.
also because they respect the work that I
Yeah.
do. And I think sometimes when people are reaching out, and the Mystics Parlor's a Scorpio moon too. Yeah, Scorpio moon, I've got a Libra rising, I'm very friendly, but I only have a handful of people I really trust. But I think that, I think people just get some misconceptions about all this. I think people also think we're on all the time. Do you get that where they think we're like psychically plugged in all the time? And it's like, if I was psychically plugged in all the time, I would go nuts.
Yeah.
You can't be plugged in all the time.
No.
It's misconceptions.
Yeah, the messages that come in at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're global now as well, aren't we? So it's not just coming in from your neighbourhood; it's coming in
Yeah.
from all around the world. So this is where your book is important, because it sets forth all of the difficult things that people, and it's not that they're not being approached with that before, but like you said, they're not got the guidelines around that. So it's all about setting boundaries, how to address it,
Hmm.
how to carry it out, what to do in the after period as well, how you will follow up on it. And I like the bit at the end as well, Tarot for Living Well. I think it's a really
Yes.
nice chapter to finalize the book with. And
Yes, because
yeah.
that's what it's all about
Mm,
ultimately. For really loving the life that you have while you're here. I
mm,
mean, we have what somebody called this one wild and precious life. And think about how much energy we waste. on stupid things. And then something happens and we get sick and we only have a limited time. And now we start thinking about the meaning of our lives. We should be thinking that well before we get to that point. We should be present with every moment. I don't want to miss a moment. I'm very much into mindfulness, partly because I love yoga, but I'm really, really into that. We need to be utterly present. And we also need to protect our time and our peace because our time here is so short. I'm going to be 60. I can't believe I'm going to be 60. I mean, it blows my mind. It blows
When
my
are you
mind.
turning 60?
Pardon?
When are you turning 60?
Next summer.
Okay, okay.
So I'm a year away from 60,
Wow.
and it kind of blows my mind. I'm
Yeah.
retiring in 5 years.
Oh,
In 5 years, I'm retired fully. I told everybody, if you want to study with me, you got 5 years. I'm done then. And and also again, having somebody in my life who's dealing with a pretty serious illness, you really think about those moments. Sometimes we're just like hanging out together and we're like, oh, this is wonderful. It's nothing exciting. We're not doing anything amazing, but it's that time. That time. We are here for such a short time
yeah,
and we need to make the most of it. We need to.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm just gonna have a look at oh, I placed a doc, Julia, who's just turned 60 as well. And it's those big milestones as well, isn't it? I thought 40 was a milestone. I'm actually looking to 50 now. Is another big milestone. And I don't want to be upset or get mad at those milestones. I'm thinking, oh, that's all right. It was 1 year more. It's quite an important chapter, the next stage in my life. And
Mhm.
yeah, like you said, living every moment and making it count. It's important.
Yes. And getting old is a privilege.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I keep in mind when I think, oh my God, I'm 60 and I have arthritis. And gee, I wish I was thinner. The usual suspects that we think about getting older. But then I'm like, what a privilege that I'm 60
Yeah.
and I'm pretty healthy,
Yeah.
and I'm not doing too bad for this age. And I had a very, very sick mother growing up. So I feel very privileged that I am getting older. And, I've got an aunt who's still with us. She's 101 years old, Aunt Angie. I'm going to see her next week. I'll see you, Aunt Angie. And she's totally with it and sharp. And what a privilege to be 101 and still be healthy and
Wow.
sharp.
Yeah. Oh
I mean,
gosh, absolutely.
being alive on this earth is a privilege. And I think if we come at it from that perspective, then getting old isn't so bad. And even if we're dealing with illnesses, hey, we're still here. But it also makes us more mindful of how we're living our lives and also how we are treating the world that we're living in.
Yeah.
It really makes us think more about that, and I think about these things a lot.
And you kind of filter down a lot of the things in your life, including people,
Hmm.
situations, you practice to the most important things and the most important people. Until you find your little golden group of wonderful,
Yeah,
amazing human beings. For me, it's my mum and dad and my
yes.
immediate family, and like spending those last years with them is really going to be really important for
They're
me.
so important. I mean, my parents are both gone. The fact that you have them here again, we use that word, it's a privilege to have
Yeah,
that time together. And, my parents have both been gone for quite some time now, but it's so wonderful the time we have. And even if the family isn't good, my family is very dysfunctional. There was time to work on some things before, especially before my dad passed on the other side. And so the family I've left, my children, my husband, and the grandbaby, that's everything, plus my best friend Simone. Hey, Simone. Those are the people who are the most important people in my world. And I want to have as much good time with them as possible, as much presence with them as possible. Because, at the end of the day, I can throw tarot all I want, I can look at the stars all I want, but you can't always predict when you're going to go.
that's very
Can't always predict that.
I, exactly. When you're young, you feel invincible. When you when you start getting past the 50 mark, you're thinking, oh, okay, I'm actually going to broach the topic now and
Mhm.
and start to think, have those difficult conversations. And then you find that the people around you are having those conversations at the same time, start talking about menopause and all of those subjects.
Yes.
Yeah, life
Other
changing.
topics that are not sexy, but they're so important to talk about, so important to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The menopause one for me at the moment and my friends. Yeah.
Well, once you're on the other side of it, it's the greatest thing ever.
Oh, God.
Oh my God, I was just talking with my sister. It's the best thing ever once you're on the other side of it. Just while you're going through it, it's like, what the hell is my body doing? What? And then you're done, and it's like, oh my God, I feel renewed, like a new
And
person.
the brain fog is real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine was mostly because I didn't get too much of that. The only symptom I had was this wicked insomnia. And the thing that I love the most is sleeping. So, of course, the one thing I love got taken from me, but then it came back, and now I sleep like a log.
Oh, gosh. So I was wondering about that, whether that was related as well, because I'm not able to sleep. So I think that's all in there as well, in the mix, all the things that we got to deal
You'll
with.
be fine. Once it's on the other side, then you're on to this fabulous new chapter where you just don't give a rip about nonsense.
Good.
And that's the other thing that's really important, I think, that I've learned as I've gotten older is not taking things personally, not getting worked up over things. I mean, I was just talking to my son the other day, and he gets worked up over politics, and he goes, "You just never seem to worry about it." I'm like, "Oh, I don't like I don't like this or that, but I'm also aware of the limits of what I can do, and there's so much that I don't need to get worked up over. I just don't need to get worked up over it."
Absolutely. Has anybody got any questions in the chat as we're going through? So we've been talking about Teresa's new book that's come out in 2023, The Cards You Dealt, How to Deal When Life Gets Real, and all of the fantastic chapters in the book as well that deal with difficult topics such as tarot for caregiving, for grieving and dying, tarot for stormy passages as well. That's
Mhm.
another good subject, and a lot of people will come in with trauma. I've just got divorced, my person's just left,
Yep.
and all of these things that we have to deal with as tarot readers, and they can be angry as well as upset, can't they? So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
One of my favorite pieces that I wrote about in this book is talking to children about grief
Mm.
because we underestimate how smart children are. And we also poo-poo whatever they want to talk about. If a child's saying, I feel sad, I'm sad grandma's gone. Well, you'll get over it. Or I mean, we don't want to deal with this. Kids need to talk about these things, and they are intelligent, and they know when you are trying to gaslight them and pretend this is NBD. And so I think tarot is a wonderful tool for kids. That's why I worked on the Tarot for Kids deck. But to sit children down and say, pick a card that shows me how you're feeling right now. Let's say a child lost their pet rabbit. What card shows me how you're feeling? And let's say the child reaches in and they pull out maybe the lovers. And okay, well, why did you pull that card? Because I love the rabbit. Tell me about the memories you have of the rabbit. Now we've got a conversation going. We have a conversation going, and the child has an opportunity to express all the things they're feeling. Do you know what a gift that is to give a child? And so that's one of my favorite things I wrote about in that book.
Oh, and thank you for that. And they remember, don't they? And they carry those things forward. And actually, I found a lot of children that come in and are interested in the cards go on to become the tarot readers and the astrologers. There was a lad at Glastonbury, and his mum brought him into the tent. And I said, I'm so sorry, I can't do a full tarot reading. He's so young. And I said, but let's get the oracle cards, and gave him an oracle card. I think he pulled out the card of the star, because it was a Russell Grant's Astro Tarot, so it was a bit of a mix with the
Mhm.
astrology in there. So he picked out the star, and we did the same thing. We talked about it. What can you see in this? And we got the stars. It looks very bright, looks very positive, and we talked about the fact that he loves tarot and wants to learn more about it. And he went away saying, "Oh, fantastic! I'm going to get some
Mhm.
cards. Going to discover more." And those memories are so important for children, because they'll go back and they'll be like, that was the key to me wanting to learn more about it. I
Mhm.
spoke to a tarot reader I pulled a card, and like you said, it gives them those experiences, those positive associations with the cards, and it's
Hmm.
so important. Yeah.
And kids, again, are very smart. They're natural tarot readers. They're all intuitive. And so if we honor that and also honor their feelings, what a gift you're giving that child. What a gift.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got another book as well, Tarot for Kids,
That's
as well.
a tarot deck with a little book in it. I wrote the book for it. We had an
Yeah.
artist, Kaylee Whitman, amazing designer. That was such a fun project to work on. And one of the things I told the publisher when they asked me to do the book, I said, okay, but we're not going to dumb this down because kids are
Okay.
smart. And we're going to include reversals because kids are smart. And so it really is like a functional tarot deck that anyone can use. But, we did change some things up to make it more kid friendly. But the little book that it comes with, it's still not dumbing it down because I think children are really, really, I think children many times are smarter than adults.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And it's like a real pure energy, so it's not been they've not had anything that's uh, like the horrible stuff that's going on with the politics at the moment. They've not learned to curb their opinions yet. They can express everything really freely.
They
Um,
can.
yeah, I've been asked to do some workshops for kids up at the Eden Fest up in Scotland, actually. So I need to kind of plan that out and
Mhm.
think about how I can do it. So I might have to ask you a few questions on what you would
Yeah,
do.
I think the most important thing is to have a kid-friendly deck, not
Mm.
some deck that's scary. Kids don't need to be looking at that. Not that they can't handle it, but a deck with animals, for example, like a cat tarot deck, is perfect for children.
Mm.
Or the Tarot for Kids deck. You get a deck like that for them. And, I would say the most important thing is their attention spans are going to be shorter. So maybe have them pull one or two cards and then open up a dialogue with them and give them some food for thought, keep the conversation light, keep it positive, encouraging, and also asking them, well, what do you see in that card? Because kids are naturally intuitive and it's really fun for them to also let you know what they see. They enjoy doing that.
Thank you. And maybe even drawing their own cards as well. That might be a good
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, you can have
Mm.
also coloring sheets for them of different cards that they can color
Yeah.
in. Print some of those off. You can find that online somewhere. There's lots of things you could do to make it kid friendly.
Yeah, that might be a nice thing to do. A design your own tarot card workshop or
Hmm.
something with a little bit of
Ooh,
child friendly guidance in there. I'll have to plan it out properly,
yeah.
but
Oh my
I'm
God,
really
that would be
proud of
so
that.
much fun.
Oh,
So
thank
much
you.
fun.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so do you want to tell us about your new project? Because you kind of touched on it before, and it's something that you're creating now.
I cannot
Can
talk
you?
about it.
Oh, you can.
No,
Okay.
first of all, this is where my moon and Scorpio comes in. I'll let people know I'm working on a project, basically, so they don't bug me. But I can't tell them because, when I'm working, and again, this is why AI is really annoying. It really is annoying because there's no heart behind it. When I'm working on something, it has to be done secret,
Okay.
like I'm doing magic, because it is magic. Writing is magic. Words are magic. Words are so magical. And I think about that a lot. And so I have to be in my cave, so to speak, in my zone. I always have a theme song that I pick for the book. So whenever that theme song comes up, it's a sign. And I've got to work in complete secrecy. So the only people who know what the book is about is my husband, my daughter, because my daughter is my personal editor. She's an amazing editor. And and of course my friend Simone, but that's it. Nobody else gets to know about it. And then once it's done, then I can freely talk about it. But I will say this, it'll be a book that'll be very useful because I tend to write books that are useful, in my
Oh,
opinion.
fabulous. And I hope you enter it again into our next Carter Awards. That
I would love to win another award. That was really, like I said, super exciting. So such an honor. I can't wait to get that little trophy, Janine. Oh my
oh,
God. I'm
I'm
going to
so
be bragging
excited for you
about
to,
it.
I'm so excited for you to receive it as well. Yeah. So okay, I think we are possibly coming up to the 45-minute mark. So would you like to tell everybody where they can buy your book? I believe it's on Amazon and there are other
Yep.
places where they can get it too.
The book is available wherever books are sold, online or off. And so, yeah, of course, like Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all of those places, all the general places, you can find it there. You can also request it from your local bookstores. You can ask your independent bookstores, your metaphysical shops to carry it. Metaphysical shops usually carry my books. And also, you can ask your library to carry it. Libraries, if you reach out to them, let's say you are short on funds, but you want to read a book, ask a library to carry a book. And generally, they will get it in if there's enough requests. So that's another way that you can access the book.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. And you've got the Gathering of the Witches event online coming up
Mhm.
very soon in October. So you're teaching on the magic of divination.
Yep. I love divination, and I know divination gets a bad rap, but I'm really into prediction and divination. So I'll be talking about the magic of divination, and including how to make your divination work better, some techniques to improve your accuracy, and also a little bit about why some people don't like it, and yada yada yada. So I've got lots to say about that.
And how can people get tickets?
Oh, well, if you go to first of all, if you go to my Instagram account and you click on the bio, there's links and there's a link to the Gathering of the Witches. So that's one way you can sign up. They also do have a website. I don't remember it off the top of my head, so that's the easiest way to sign up for the Gathering of the Witches.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us at Tabby Tarot, and hope to speak to you again soon. And good luck with all your upcoming projects. And it was really nice to have this conversation with you this afternoon for you. And congratulations again on your Carter Award.
Thank you so much, Janine. This has been a blast and definitely hope to talk to you again soon. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye. Take care.